Hi, everyone, and welcome to the second live chat with the Dream Theater World fan club. Today, we have the wonderful Jordan Rudess with us, so we can chat and get some new news from him. So let's welcome Jordan to the stream.
Hey
Hi, Jordan.
everybody. All right. Hey Kim, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very good. It's very hot outside right now.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Well, compared to United States temperatures, of course, it's not that hot.
Although
I'm,
today in New York is a beautiful day. It's like 72 degrees and it's perfect. So I can't complain at all. It's all good.
Yeah, it's something like that here as well. Maybe
Oh,
a bit
nice.
colder.
Yeah, yeah.
So, there's a lot of viewers already. That's good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hello,
it's-
everybody. What's going on out there in Dream Theater World?
so let's just
Wonderful.
start off with like I started with James and John with this question, and I think I'll just ask you the same question. When did you discover that you were actually interested in music?
When did I discover I was interested in music? Wow. Well, I was pretty young. My grandparents actually had a piano in their house, an upright piano, and I would go over to it and just like play little things. And so my parents were like, "Oh, we better give him some lessons." He seemed interested in music. And my mother used to say that whenever there was music on, I would be like rocking like directly to the beat and showed a real interest in it. So when I was 7 years old, I started taking piano lessons. I had one of these teachers that came around the house, and it was a little red book. I tell this story. The guy had the little red book. I learned the first piece, and then and then I improvised on that piece when he came back, playing my own things. So he was like, "Oh, well, I guess we can throw this book out the window." So he literally didn't teach me any standard notation. He taught me how to play the chords then.
All
He
right.
would write like, here's a C chord, here's a D chord, D minor, E, and I had like a whole little chart of the chords, and then that's how it started and it really changed when somebody came over that really knew music better than my parents and said, "Wow, your kid is really talented. You should give him some serious lessons with somebody who will have him look at the book." So that's when I discovered Magda, my Hungarian piano teacher that got me ready to go to Juilliard, and you know. It was that was intense because her son was going to be a classical pianist, but her son who was going to Juilliard left Juilliard to join the Guy Lombardo band, which was like this old-fashioned kind of big band that used to play every New Year's Eve in New York. And so when she found me, she was like, "You're going to be the one. You're not going to be like my son. You'll stay with the classics." But of course, Magda is unfortunately rolling over in her grave because I don't know if she would like Dream Theater music too much or some of the other stuff I do besides classical music.
So then, what was the first album you bought for your own money? Do you
My
remember
own
that?
money. I think it was introducing the Beatles. I had saved some money because I really wanted that. So it's a personal project. So that was the one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't get those over here in Europe because that's like the first couple of Beatles albums
Took
were
some
like
time.
different.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
different in the United States than from
Uh-huh.
what we had.
Right. Yeah.
So let's see. There's one question here.
Oh, hello, Jordan from Argentina. This is from Facundo. What are your thoughts about Beethoven and Mozart? Oh, well, Beethoven and Mozart. So what is that, like meat and potatoes or something? You're talking about the basics right there. Yeah, I mean, those guys were awesome dudes. They wrote some incredible music. I mean, if you had to ask me what my favorite classical music is, it's not really Beethoven and Mozart, although, these are giants of musical history in that they set everything up for all of us who have been extending it since then. So, like somebody like Mozart, I mean, there was only so much harmonic activity allowed, really. People's ears and the instruments they were using just were not ready for more than kind of a standard set of what is known as classical harmony. And Beethoven, of course, extended that, but you know, but it took it took time, and over the course of time, things gradually extend. This is look at progressive, rock and metal and electronic music. So, but yeah, those are important composers.
So during this quarantine, social distancing period, you've been really active on social media. You had how many days did you play live in a row? 50 or
Yeah,
something?
well, Matt will know better. I know he's listening. He'll probably be able to tell you the exact amount or close to it. But I think I had done like 60 Facebook lives in a
Yeah,
row, something like
in a
that.
row.
Yeah, and actually, I missed my 4 o'clock time slot. And for those of you who are out there listening and you didn't see the 4 o'clock thing, again, I did it like 60 times in a row, where I would go on Facebook and just offer music. When this whole thing, this whole lockdown thing happened, it was really important to me to get out all these emotions and express. And I felt like, it's kind of like one of the things that I bring to the world is this ability to communicate through music and to bring people together, because of course we're, all of us watching and involved with this chat, and beyond that, the whole community around Dream Theater and around my music is so international. So I felt like, wow, let me do something where I can bring everybody together, and at least we can feel something positive and maybe get some, peace of mind out of it, get some healing. So it was partly like for strictly personal reasons, because music for me it can be very much a meditation, but also it was my gift to everybody else around there to, to have that time and to just share music with them. And really, I would say, 90% of what I played in those time slots was totally improvised, just because I wanted to play from my heart and just play what came into my mind and my spirit. So, so yeah, that was a big activity that now is kind of winding down a little bit. But like I just did one yesterday. I was just on Facebook Live yesterday.
Hmm. So, what are your current plans right now? I saw you talk about these Patreon thing. What's that about?
Yeah, well, I've been putting a lot of energy into this Patreon thing. So Patreon is an amazing platform, been around for a while, but now is an incredible time for Patreon, and for me, because I realized that engaging with my fans is so important to me. It's one of the things that, not only from like a business perspective, but it's something that I just love to do. Like being online with you and being able to reach out and talk to everybody and have this gathering and just connect and let people be close to me and close to us, and to share the beauty of music and the fun that we have of just kind of like around our whole world, which is, I mean, that's why you do it too. I mean, it's, we do it because music is so cool, and it's just the spirit of it is so cool. And so the social media engagement world is of great interest to me. And I found in my research that Patreon is going to be a really great way to do it. And Patreon is a system where basically, you know, anybody can go on there, whether it's a musician, an artist, a podcast, whoever it is, and come up with tiers to invite patrons in. A little bit, you could think of it like in the old days, with Bach and Chopin and Beethoven, they would have like sponsors. The kings and queens would basically sponsor them to write the music. This is a modern day kind of version of that, where for somebody like me who's got so many interesting projects uh, that I want to do, and I want to do it well, and I want to do it um, with the fans involved. It's a great system. So I'm setting up 4 tiers for Patreon, and each one is a slightly different price to get into. Like so what the idea of it is, you have the listening room, right? And in the listening room, basically, if you're a patron, you'll get what we're calling like a front row to all my live streams. So since I'm somebody who loves to do like live streams and play for you, I'll be doing that a lot. And if it's not live, I'll make videos, which I can share like all the time. And somebody who's part of the listening room can get that. And also they'll be able to get to an exclusive Instagram and a Facebook page, which will be kind of like behind the scenes. type of stuff. So you want to see me working on stuff, then then that's the place that that you're gonna go. So the listening environment is the first tier, um, which is gonna be $5 a month. Basically, what is that? A price of a cup of coffee, something like that. The second tier is the Wisdom Music Academy. So the Wisdom Music Academy, um, what that's going to be about is there's a monthly video lesson and a monthly live chat as well. So anybody who's a part of that, I'm going to get on a format kind of like this, where people can ask questions and we can be involved and have a monthly chat. I'm going to print out a PDF of my monthly material that I put together. And also you'll have access to the Instagram and the Facebook, all the behind the scenes stuff, and early access to the songs I release. So that's the Wisdom Music Academy $10 tier. And then all that is now kind of puts those completely together. So you'll get the listening experience. You'll be able to hear, every live stream I do. You'll get all the behind the scenes stuff. You'll be part of the monthly live chat, the educational things that I do. But you will also get your name in the credits for what I produce. So, which is, important to me and to a lot of people, that those people who are really supporting get their name in the credits. So there's one more tier, which is the Over the Edge tier, which has everything all included, but the main difference being that after 6 months of subscribing to that, you are going to get, let me just make sure I give the right information, I'll do a one-on-one call with you. So if you subscribe to me on the Over the Edge tier, $25 a month, I'll spend time with you on the phone every 6 months to have a one-on-one conversation. So it's kind of carefully set up plans for the people who have different interests, for fans of all shapes and sizes, and I've been putting it together for a while. I'm very excited about it. Actually, have as soon as I launch, which will be within the next week, we're planning to launch this very, very soon. Everyone will find out about this project that I've been working on in the studio. Pretty cool, really Jordan type, musical project that's very deep. And of course, those people who sign up and become part of that will get to find out about it, and will hear it first and be part of this new world. And I guess you could say, like something to really point out is that with Facebook and Instagram and all the free things that happen, that has been very important to me, and it's still really important. I'm not going to give up on just putting out some things for free and bringing people in. But to me, it's more exciting to have this engaged world of people who are truly behind you, that are involved. It's almost like they become really part of the inner circle. And I can do that because of my spirit and my nature and my interest in social media, the way that I work. I fully embrace, kind of like the modern way of doing things as a I don't know, celebrity is not the right word, but as a performer, as someone who makes music for the outside world, and so it's very, very exciting. So that's been a big project.
I think Patreon and the way those types of services work is a great way for creators to have a more direct access to the fandom and give fans a choice in how much they want to participate and give back to the artists themselves.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, Patreon's been around for a little while, but musicians are starting to find out about it more. And and personally, we've been putting so much time into really figuring out how to do this right. And I feel like it's going to be a very satisfying situation for me, and also for all the patrons.
Yeah, I've actually been subscribed to Kevin Moore's Patreon for a couple of years now, because he's been doing that. So he stopped making CDs altogether. He's just making new tracks on Patreon and releasing that to the patrons. So I dig that platform.
Yeah, it's very cool, and they're a very together system. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there. So, looking forward to doing that, and I hope some of you who are out there watching will subscribe and become part of my inner circle. That'd be amazing.
So let's see, just pick a question so people actually also get to be involved a bit there. Skylar Lutz says, JR, how do you approach constructive criticism toward each other during the Dream Theater writing process? Has your approach changed over the years?
Interesting. I guess all I see is how do you approach constructive criticisms toward each during the DT writing process.
uh,
You added the important word, you think? I guess he means towards each other, right?
yeah, I guess.
um, Constructive criticism. Well, I mean, we're not generally criticizing each other very much in the studio. We might, there's a lot of give and take, um, where we'll try something and maybe somebody like if, let's say I play something and John says, "Yeah, that's cool, but maybe something like this." If anything, like if somebody does something that where it's not hitting the other person perfectly, we'll try other. We can try other things. We don't sit there saying, "Well, actually, because he went to the relative minor, I feel like the piece would develop more." Where everybody's pretty high level in in that particular group. But it doesn't mean we have to like each other's ideas. So
Of course.
we're very accepting of that. If it doesn't fly, we go, okay. It is. I mean, it's a little hard sometimes when you feel like you came up with something really amazing, and then somebody says, "I don't know," it's whatever. Then you have to say, well, maybe they just don't like they're just not coming from the same place as you, or who knows. But yeah, but the approach has the approach changed over the years. Um, we're very very compatible with the writing process, and we sometimes do things differently. Like certainly when we composed The Astonishing, it was just John Petrucci and I in a room, and we composed the whole album. Yeah, that approach changed a lot. And then for the next album, we all went into the space together, and we kind of hashed it out, and we did it that way. So you look back at an album like Train of Thought that was very much done in a similar way in a rehearsal studio in New York, where we wrote all the stuff, and then we went to the studio and we laid it down, but it was already written. I just want, and that's the answer. I want to answer a question that I see in the chat. Scott Berry says, "How do we subscribe, or where do we go to the Patreon?" Well, as soon as the Patreon page is announced, it'll be big news with links on my website, on my Instagram, on my Facebook. I'll put it on the Dream Theater world so people can see that as well. What else? And I'll also, if you're part of my mailing list, you can do that. You can, if you're not part of my mailing list, go to info@wisdommusic.com. Info@wisdommusic.com, and wisdom is with a Z. So you can mail me there, and I'll know that you want to just say, put me, add me to to your mailing list. And I'll be happy to let you know everything and anything that's going on.
Let's see. Cosmin, our friend from Romania, has a question. Everyone knows your passion for technology, your apps, and the different instruments that you play along with the keywords. However, you keep on gravitating back to your acoustic piano. Tell us the story of your Steinway Grand.
Well, yeah, I mean, I grew up playing the piano. That to me is home base. And it was for so many years the only way that I expressed myself because I wasn't playing electronic instruments. And when I discovered all like synthesizers and electric organs and things like that years ago, it was really a different thing. The sounds and working with them just appealed to a different part of my brain, really. I tell this story with the first time I played a Moog synthesizer, and I turned the knobs, and I felt like the knobs were like inside of my head, and that's something that I never got from a piano. It's a really different experience when you go, and you're turning the filter knob, and it just kind of like changes your whole sensibility. But so it's really different things. So for me, first of all, the piano in general is like coming back home. It's my it's my home spot, sitting at the piano, being able to express. Now, when I turned 50, which was just the other day. No, I'm kidding. When I turned 50, my wife and I brought this beautiful Steinway Grand, like the best piano I've ever had. This thing is this a magical instrument, so beautiful. So for me, of all the instruments I have, and I have so many instruments like that crazy synthesizer in the back that I brought on the Octavarium tour. Um, so it's just the piano. This Steinway Grand is my favorite instrument of all of them. It definitely is. So my relationship with that instrument is very, very deep.
Let's see. This is a very hard question to answer, I guess. But what are 5 to 10 essential keyboard albums that you would recommend someone listening to?
Yeah. Well, I will. Well, I don't have to pick 5 or 10, but I will say the one that influenced me the most was the Emerson, Lake and Palmer Tarkus album. That was a huge influence. I would also point to the Refugee album. Refugee is a group that had Patrick Moraz in them. And maybe I would point to like Rick Wakeman's Six Wives of Henry VIII. It was an amazingly important album. And if people, actually, this is just something that's been on my mind lately, but if people are not familiar with the albums by Tomita, they should do that. If you're interested in synthesizers, Tomita did some of the most incredible arrangements of classical music that you'll ever hear, turning them all into electronic sounds. Did it all with the old modular, Moog synthesizers, some incredible stuff. So you can check out those. Those are the essential ones, I would say.
Let's see. I'm not sure how much you can answer of this one, but there's somebody who's. This is a question I get a lot, and it's about the official bootleg series. Do you know of any plans to bring back official bootlegs?
Oh yeah. Well, that subject always comes up now and then. So I imagine at some point, I don't know if it'll be like the official bootleg series, but we have some things in the can that will definitely, that we definitely are aware of that we will bring back at a certain point. Quite honestly, we don't change the set list as much as we used to. So that was like every day in the old days, we'd be playing a different set every day, making our crew and some of us a little bit crazy. But we did do that. So, in that sense, some of the bootleg, there was more to release as bootlegs. But there's still some cool stuff in the can, some cool shows and everything that we've done that are definitely releasable. And at some point, I'm sure will be releasable. The astonishing, you bring that up. And I remember for that tour, we were like so against having like people, well, I wasn't personally, but we were so against having like people taking pictures or videos or any of that. So if you lifted up a camera at an astonishing tour, you were basically like escorted out the door. Of course, we never recorded the astonishing, right? We never did our own recording or anything. So, it's kind of like if you saw that show, you're lucky because I mean, I think there's one like bootleg of the whole show somewhere floating around. You might know better than me in that regard, but
there's some on YouTube, I guess. But
yeah, but it was never really captured, and people don't have many pictures of it either. And for somebody like me who doesn't have the greatest memory in the world, I would have loved to have a video of the night. It would have been really good. So yeah. Kind of
well, you did have a plan to film it, and then that plan kind of fell through due to the rescheduling and the rearranging of what the set list and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
So I mean, but you still do. You have done since forever, I guess. Recorded every show.
Yes. Oh, definitely. We record every show.
So you have that in you have the ability to release at least all the shows since 2010. Because
we do, yeah, right. And we're actually releasing them a week from Friday. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke, everybody. That's a joke.
Well, it's. I guess the thing is, a lot of people like the live, like the experience to have access to live shows they've been to.
Right.
And I
Sure.
mean, some artists go nuts with the whole bootleg, official bootleg things. If you look at Metallica or Marillion, they have like hundreds and thousands of shows
Incredible. Yeah.
recorded and released.
Yes, I'd love to do that.
So
But
I guess that's what something people want, but I mean,
fans
I don't
want
know
that.
how they.
Yes. The fans want it. But
Let's see.
okay.
This is a challenge to you. He's telling you to
Yeah.
challenge JP live on
Oh yeah.
a string guitar.
Yeah, I really, I'm such good friends with Patricia. I don't want to embarrass him. So I think I'll just like, probably not challenge him. Just let him be in his comfort zone.
Because that's quite interesting. A lot of people didn't know that you even played guitar, and then you suddenly got that signature.
The amazing eight string. I haven't played it much because when I was playing it, it was the last time I was really spending time on it was before a tour. And then I started to feel a little weird thing, I guess, because it's such a big grip and I wasn't used
All
to
right.
it. So I was like, I better not do this because I can't cancel a tour because I'm learning the eight-string guitar. I didn't think that would go over very well with anybody. So I kind of allowed it to rest you know, and got myself some smaller versions.
Candy says, "Thank you for all the beautiful live streams. I wanted so hard to see you during the Back to the Rock tour, but I haven't been able to come. Is this something you're planning to do again?"
Is it something I'm planning to do again? Well, I'm not going to do the Bach to Rock tour, but when the world opens up and things get back to normal, I will definitely do, some solo touring for sure. So I would say, yeah, if you missed that tour, well, there'll be future times when I come around and play the piano, and because I just love to do that. So yeah, not Bach to Rock specifically, but something will happen.
Michelle asks, "Do you tune your piano by yourself, Jordan?"
That's a good question. I have the tools, and it was funny because when the quarantine happened, I said to my wife, I said, I can totally do this. The quarantine is great. But when this piano starts to go really out of tune, that's not great because I got to bring in the piano tuner. So my piano needs a little bit of work again, but as it was going out of tune a little bit, I was tweaking certain notes, and then it got to a point where it was like, no, I can't do this. Maybe if I had one of those expensive like machines that tempers it and does the whole thing, and if I had the patience to do it as well. But tuning pianos is a bit of an art form. You have to really be skilled with the hammer and all that stuff. It takes practice and work.
Yeah,
So
there's.
yes, I can fix something if it's just kind of like beating or whatever, like three of the strings and one of them is out of tune. I can fix it. But once it starts to, like the instrument starts to go on me and everything starts to move, no, then it's time to tell the piano tuner to come over with a full mask and gloves and don't breathe on me and play the piano
Yeah,
and tune the piano.
there's so many strings. I mean, how it's three strings per key? Is it
Well, it
that?
graduates. It starts with
Yeah,
three strings to one, and the low end bass
yeah.
strings one string. Yeah,
So there's a lot of strings to tune to.
there's a lot of strings. It takes time. My guy comes. He's usually here for a couple hours, and he's great.
Right.
He's also actually the guy who tunes my piano. Jason Volpe is quite an excellent musician. He plays an eight-string guitar as
Ah.
well, and he plays in some pretty cool, trippy, heavy-ish rock. So we always end up talking and everything. He's a great piano tuner.
Facundo Ariel Boras asks, "What's the instrument that you always wanted to learn but you never did?"
The instrument that you always wanted to learn. Okay, well, I bought an erhu, which is a Chinese instrument, because when you play it really well, it's spelled Erhu. When you play it really well, it sounds like a human voice. It's
Oh,
really a
really?
great, great sound. But it's a string instrument. It's a very simple string instrument. I haven't played it because I tried it a couple times. I was like, oh my God, I'll never play this because it's just really hard. So yeah, I would have liked to learn that one. But I play a lot of different things. I'm not very much into wind instruments. I don't like the whole feeling of like blowing into stuff like that. I played the clarinet for a week when I was a kid, and I was like, forget it, it's not going to happen. But I play all kinds of cool, modern instruments. I just got this thing. This is really cool. Look at this. It's
All right.
a it's a Sensel morph, and what's cool about it is that ah just took
Ah,
the whole thing off. You can place all these different pads on it. You've got like a keyboard pad, you've got a drum pad, you've got a music production pad, and this whole underneath part actually is totally XYZ
all right.
sensitive. So you could arrange it to be anything you want. Like if I wanted to have a big slider here and another big slider here and have it sending out whatever controllers, I can design that and put my own, like I can make a cutouts on a piece of paper and put them under one of these strips and then have that. But it sells with all
Yeah,
these different things. But
that looks cool.
it's really cool. And it just plugs in directly to the computer through USB or Bluetooth or anything like that. It's
So
an
it's MIDI.
MPE instrument too, which is
Yeah.
amazing. But I play so many different things, and I'm so into obviously my synthesizers and my sounds and all this stuff that I get a lot of satisfaction from being able to play so many different kinds of sounds. I mean, I truly am passionate about, you know, sonics and learning how to play. How do you really express a violin, or how do you express a trumpet, and what is the vibrato like, and what kind of bending would you do, and what about the flute and the way they kind of control
Yeah.
their breath, and there's so many ways to do that these days at my keyboard instruments, and even with GeoShred. I mean, we're doing all these SWAM instruments with GeoShred now, so it's kind of like you can do things like, here, I'll turn this down for a second, so I can be like, so you have all these different instruments that can express so nicely. With the sliding,
Mm.
I can just put it in a mode where I'll do that later. I can slide around, so if I wanted to do something like this, where I can have more of a I'm always studying different articulations and how to do all this kind of cool stuff. So that's actually allow me to mark it for a second. So that's not available on GeoShred yet. That's GeoShred. That's my company's Wisdom Music instrument. That's something that's coming up where we're going to be releasing all those models, like a sax and a violin and clarinet and flute and all that kind of good stuff. Of course,
Uh, will
yeah.
will that be like a paid download or?
Yeah, it'll be on the iOS App Store. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, you'll be able to buy that, and then it'll run inside of GeoShred. It'll just be another instrument that'll be inside of GeoShred,
All right.
which will be, really, really fun for all the people that have been playing GeoShred for a while that want to have all these amazingly cool, sounding instruments in that platform with the playing surface.
I actually started out back in like when I was 8 or 9. Started out playing instruments, and then my first instrument was actually the cornetto.
Oh, wow.
So in a marching band.
Yeah.
Just did that for a couple of years, and then got tired because it was just marching band music, and I didn't like really connect to that.
It's not your thing.
And then I went over to piano for 4 or 5 years.
Ah, and did you connect to that?
Sure, but
Okay.
I did actually gravitate more towards the guitar in the end, so that's why
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah. Right,
the
right,
guitars on my wall.
right. I hear you. So I'll just for fun, I'll show everybody if they're not familiar, although a lot of folks out there are. This is like GeoShred has become very popular in India,
Hmm.
and one of the reasons is because of all the cool sliding you can do. So you can check it out here. You can be like. of course, the sliding can become more of a rock thing. If you put it in this kind of a sound where you're like. If you want to rock out on your iPad, it's a good way to do it.
I've tried GeoShred a lot of times, but
Yeah.
it's a bit above my skill level.
Oh, no! It's not. You just haven't had anybody show you like what you really can do. Have you tried playing the blues in GeoShred?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because one of the things with playing the blues in GeoShred is that we put only the right notes
I
on
know.
the scale, so it's can make it. If
Can
you
make it
guys
sound
are
really easy.
what?
You can make it sound easy to play by just having the right scale, so you can't play the wrong note.
Yes. So anybody can really be playing the blues. If I gave you the lesson, it would be really you'd be playing the blues in a minute. I guarantee you. Because the idea is, for those who don't know, you can put all the right notes on the scale, like. With one finger, you're basically playing through the blues scale, moving left to right, and if you put on your backing track. Pretty fun. I make these instruments for people who are not usually music players, that are listeners, to also enjoy being able to
Yeah.
play, as well as for professionals who want to stretch and do things that haven't been possible before. So yeah, kind of a combo thing.
Of course, we have to take this question as well. So I know you've answered it before, but Victor, our friend Victor,
Oh, Victor, yes. I know
he's
Victor.
just asking a very simple question.
Oh, I like this
LTE.
question. LTE. Okay. Well, everybody or most people have probably heard. So we are, we're all interested to do this. We're planning on doing it. Exactly when, not sure, but it's definitely going to happen. And just stay tuned for an announcement, when about the details of that. But we're all really, we've been talking. We're all interested. We're going to make it happen. It's just no dates or times or details to announce at the moment. But for those people who've been asking every day for the last 20 years, the answer is yes, it's going to happen. Hold on. It won't be that long. You can just wait for our announcement to know what's happening.
So I'm not even going to try to
Which,
pronounce that name, but
which DAW? Which DAW do you use? So it's a digital audio workstation.
yes.
So I use Logic, actually. That's the one. I used to use Digital Performer years ago. I played around with Cubase and Cubasis on the iOS stuff, and that's a great program too. All these platforms are amazing. I know Ableton is one people use a lot, especially in the electronic music world. But for me, I just have been a Logic user, and that's kind of like been my thing for many years now. And I know how to use it to a certain point, so it allows me to get my projects done.
I'm also a Logic user, and I like that platform a lot.
Yeah, it's
So,
really great.
but not an expert, but I try to record stuff and
Yeah.
program stuff with that. So
Hey Kim, what about if I play a little piano for you guys? I'll play a
yes, of
tune or
course.
two. Would that be
Yes,
cool?
of course.
All
Yes.
right, we'll take a little break. I'll switch cameras and mics, and I'll go over and play a couple of notes for you guys. All right, here we go. And I'll see if I can play something I haven't played in a while, also for all of you. So I'm switching the camera to the piano, and I'm switching my audio, my friends, to that. Well, so you should hear me now, right, Kim? Although it's a little quiet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me go switch and play. trip on my way over to the piano would be good. All right, I'm just shifting here. And I was thinking, I didn't even know what I was going to play, but let's see. I think I will play this song. You guys know this, and I haven't played. I don't know if have I ever played this just myself on the piano. I don't know, but I will play it because we were talking about the astonishing before. Go. How do we do?
There.
Did it work?
I think there's an echo now.
Oh, let me plug in the headphones. Yeah. Did you hear that?
Yes, sounded very good.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So
Awesome.
let's just see if there's any cool. Let's do this one. I'd ask, how do you compose with so much choice of sounds in your synthesizers when dealing with all your projects?
Slowly. Actually, sometimes fast. Like I was in there. I wrote a song with my daughter actually during the quarantine. It's like a pop song kind of thing. It really came out very nicely. Of course, I couldn't help but put a little prog in it. But it's somewhere between like a musical Queen and a little bit of maybe like Dream Theater in it as well. But anyway, but for something like that where I'm using piano and some strings and a bass sound, and I'm kind of doing the orchestration myself, and it's more straight ahead. It's quick because I know which string sound I want to use. I know which big choir sound I want to use. But for when I'm doing other projects where I'm crafting something very sonic and something different, and it's not just like a standard type of a formula, then it's different because then I have so many sounds. I've got this. Imagine a painter, and like he's got like not just a regular palette, but he's got stuff all around the room of all these blends, and he's got to like choose, and it's like, and then you put it on the canvas, and you say, no, maybe this one, and you take that color down, and you put a little, and you go, I'm not sure, So for me, it's kind of like, wow. I mean, I can also edit sounds and make them, but there's just so many starting points. The sonic world is incredible.
I know. I have personally. I have the complete collection, the ultimate collection, and I have the
incredible, right?
Spectrasonics Omnisphere, and I have the Arturia V collection.
Omnisphere itself is just like you. I have had that for years, and I just I swear to God, either they're putting sounds in there like while I'm sleeping or something. Maybe but I have been through. I whenever I go to Omnisphere and I use it probably more than anything else, I find stuff I haven't heard before, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
So I find anytime I'm just noodling on the piano keyboard and try to find some sounds when you have like 10,000s of sounds
choices. Well, no, it's hard. But actually, one of my abilities is maybe because it's a combination of being hypersensitive to sound, but it's also because I'm a player and my fingers work. So maybe when if I hear a sound that does something interesting, I can think of, and I'm an improviser, I can think of something cool to do with it. Usually, so if the sound goes, and I'll just go, I'll do something that has some interest to it, given whatever sound it is. Like, I mean, I guess, most of you guys out there know that I'm like a sonic madman. I'll have I have my new, upcoming, those of you in the Dream Theater community can know about it. It's a new version of SampleWiz that we're working on with an incredible French team named Bleass, Bleass. If you haven't checked out their apps and you're an iOS person, you definitely should. But I can sample any sound at all. Like I can sample this sound and then play it back. And of course, we don't hear a thing because my volume is not turned on, I think. Like, any sound at all. Like I can sample this sound. But there's all these cool things you can do. There, that's better. All these cool things you can do with the sound. Like I can put it in some weird granular mode, which makes the whole waveform do different. So for me, playing with sounds is a bit of a field day. Doing all kinds of stuff. So so definitely be on the alert for the new version of SampleWiz. We turned off some of the echo. You might actually hear what I'm saying. There we go. Definitely be on the alert for the new version of SampleWiz. There we go. Okay. Cool.
But that actually leads me into a new question from Cosman. In a rather recent chat, there was this discussion about perfect versus relative pitch. Having perfect pitch is a blessing or a curse for you?
A lot of people ask that question. It's an interesting thing. the most important thing the musician can have is relative pitch. And in some cases, it's even better than perfect pitch. Although if I don't know if I had it to do over again, I think I'll keep my perfect pitch because it's helpful. But relative pitch is the most important thing, and that's something you can work on and develop. Although certain people are getting paid lots of money because they have theories about how to develop perfect pitch. Whether I buy them or not, I'm not sure I do. But not to worry if you don't have perfect pitch, because you can really work on your ear, and it can become better. You know, I mean, I would say somebody who's tone deaf, well, maybe that'd be a little hard to to get them to improve too much.
Well,
But yeah,
I actually saw a study not so long ago that says that there's nobody who's actually tone deaf. It's basically their upbringing that's caused them to not be able or not be willing to hear or sing notes correctly, because they got discouraged when they were young from singing, and that's why they're viewed as tone deaf. It's not
that's interesting.
actually.
Oh, maybe so if they open up a little bit, yeah, almost like you have to go into psychotherapy or something to release your inner musical self. But I mean, certain people can't see colors, and I think
Yeah, yeah.
certain people can't hear pitch. It's like
I mean, if
maybe
you
one of those things.
look at Devin Townsend as a musician, he has this synesthesia thing
Oh yes,
where
yes.
he sees music as colors,
Okay,
which is
okay.
really interesting.
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't say that I have that, but I am very, very sensitive to both, kind of as a, I guess I'm close to that, but not to the point where it's a medical condition. So, what I wanted to say was, I don't know when we have to close up shop, but I wanted to show you a picture and just tell you about something else that I'm doing while I have all
Yeah.
of your lovely attention, which is this. I hope this guy who I did this for is okay with this. But here it is. So I have this new thing. So I'm working with Elego Live, and I'm sure some of you have heard of it. And I'm like signing my own, pick nice pictures of me. So if you want a picture of me, I can sign it with a message to you, which is kind of a nice thing. But Sammy, the guy who owns Elego, and I decided it was his idea. Wouldn't it be cool? Because people have all these pictures of like Dream Theater, and they have pictures of themselves with me. Wouldn't it be great to give them the opportunity to get them signed? Because
Mm.
that's something that comes up. So like now we have this service. So like my friend here, Mark, he sent me this picture through the Elego service, and he asked me to sign it. So I have this nice Elego app. Basically, the picture comes up with the request. I take my Apple Pencil, I sign it, and I send it back. And it's, and this is a nice one from Mark. And this is the, what he wanted included in the comment. So it's a nice service over on Elego Live, which you guys
Mm.
can check out. So if you're sitting there with that picture, you go, I wish I had this signed. Hit me up through the service, and we will do that.
And my camera doesn't show, but I actually do have a signed poster back there with a picture of me and you guys.
Well, you have connections. You don't need the service.
I do have connections.
Yeah,
Let's
there you go.
see. Let's take this one. I mean, it's well known at this point, but I mean, Distance Over Time tour DVD release.
The Distance Over Time tour is going to be released on CD. Blah, 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 blah. What's well known? What do people know? Kim, tell me that. You answer.
What they know that it's been filmed, that you filmed in London.
Right.
I guess that's all they know at this point.
Uh, okay, so all that they know. Yeah, I'm not sure what the public wrap is on that. I think we'll leave it at what people know. Yeah, it was all filmed, and we have all the footage, and we're hoping to get it released. So we'll let the authorities decide when and what exactly to announce.
It's always someone else who has the decision over those
Right, right. I'm
things.
not going to be the one who gets in trouble for announcing anything before it should be announced. Wizard, would like to thank you for the Facebook Lives. You exercise to try to stay healthy often. I exercise by opening bags of brownies and cookies. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that. I do like chocolate, though, as many people know.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, well, I've been taking pretty good care of myself in this quarantine life. Certainly, been. It's not my, I'm not like a type A person who's like, I got to go work out. Like putting everything aside so I can go like to the gym. But no, I have been working out a bit and doing some Pilates and going. Have my trainer who I see online and just got a nice little flow. And what's amazing about this lifestyle is that I haven't been home this consistently in ever, actually. Really, I've never
Yeah.
been home this long consistently in my house for as long as I've lived. So this is amazing because even before Dream Theater and all that, I was still a traveling salesman. I was a traveling musician.
Well, you
You
kind
know.
of were a traveling
Yeah,
salesman.
right,
So
right. I had
hard.
like
You
my
worked good.
suitcase with all this stuff. But yeah, no. So it's just incredible. I'm just home and I've got kind of a routine. I have certain things I do in the morning. I have a time when I like to eat my breakfast, and I have to go and do some working out. I go for walks. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. It's like, where's the tour bus? What's going on? Let's go. Let's get this party going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, I think a lot of people have lived lives now the past 3 months that they never have before, staying home as long as we have, many of us. I
Mhm.
mean, I've rarely been to work in 3 months, and I usually go to work every day. So it's really
Right,
the
right. Well, it's changed all our lives, and it's given us all also a chance to think about a lot of things. And like, I think every one of us that, is like an active person doing stuff has really been able to get a different perspective on everything that we do, and probably kind of even change a little bit about the way we operate and what we're going to do, and what we want to do, and certain thing. Something like this, a serious situation like this, definitely changes your priorities as well. So yeah, and everybody who is saying thank you for the Facebook Lives, I just want to say you're so
that
welcome. It's my
wasn't the
pleasure.
question I wanted to show, but let's do that first.
Yeah,
How did you compose the Dance of Eternity? Uh,
there were any thoughts or ideas? No, we didn't have any thoughts or ideas. It just happened mysteriously. One night we woke up and the notation was sitting in front of us, and we just played
yeah,
it.
it's the devil's work.
Yeah. Well, I just would say there were tons of thoughts and tons of ideas, and often there's more ideas than we can even use. Dream theater, that's not one of the problems with dream theater. It's not like some people have trouble thinking of any ideas or like anything, but like that's not our problem. We have tons of ideas, a million riffs. It's more of which ones we want to use and how we want to organize them, and kind of like choosing. And I actually just I can speak personally, and I think other people in the band can relate. But like as we're composing, like I might have like 10 ideas come through my head, but I'm sitting there because I'm giving one of my other bandmates a chance to express and come up with something. So if John's working on something on the guitar, he started, I'm not gonna, I'll try to like lay back and allow him to finish his idea so he can present it. And I think that's the same with, with anybody else. If I'm working on something, then John will, he'll stop playing for a minute and allow me to at least figure enough out that I can express it, and then he can say that sucks, and then we can move on. Or I like it, I get a dirty look from like John Mayung or something like that. But at least everybody gives each other time to to work out what it is. Or if
I
I
think
play something and they go, yeah, then I go, okay, well that one's the score.
I think my most difficult thing about writing music is trying to string together all these cool ideas and actually make them make sense together.
Well, don't worry about it, because isn't that what prog is about? Like you have different ideas and just kind of go from one to the other.
Well, still has to make some kind
But you
of
know what? Yeah, it does.
narrative
When
sense.
I first joined Dream Theater, I was like, I thought they were really really fantastic musicians. Like I mean, I grew up listening more to Genesis and Pink Floyd and Yes and Gentle Giant and ELP. But when I joined Dream Theater, I was like, God, these guys don't know how to write a bridge. And then I thought they're fantastic, but like maybe I can help them a little bit with writing a bridge. But then I realized that that was part of the style. was like, are you kidding me? Like, you go down this road and then you immediately make a right turn. Immediately, and then I started to relate to it also. I was like, wow, I get it. I like that. That's cool. So it became one of the tools in my writing toolbox, like to be able
Yeah,
to do
you
that.
don't have to be stuck in like the good old rules of songwriting with a firm structure like A B A C.
No, no, absolutely no. We can do whatever we want. We can change tempos. We can shift modes, gears, whatever. It's all fair game.
So let's take this one as the last question for tonight, I think.
All right. Any new
And
music that I've been listening to? Thank you for the live streams. We love them. Looking forward to paper. Oh, thank you so much, Dream Theater USA. You're too kind. So you guys are gonna laugh. I was just new music. I was just listening to the new David Foster album. Actually, it's not totally my kind of thing. It's a little bit. Uh, I don't know. I mean, it's not prog at all. But anyway, such a beautiful piano sound. His new album, 11 Words, is just so pretty. I just really was enjoying that. I'm looking up anything else that I've been listening to lately to share with you. Some electronic stuff. Uh, just getting back into, like, there's an artist named John Hopkins I was listening to, and um, let's see. And then going back, I don't know, new stuff. I've been listening to old stuff. I got out the old Deep Purple Burn album the other day. I was listening to that. That was pretty cool. Um, but I've been in the studio a lot actually lately.
mm,
You guys will find out about all that stuff very very soon because I have this project again that I'm going to be releasing when I announce my Patreon campaign of some new music that's been I've been developing and I'm excited about. So
yes,
yeah,
we've been on an hour now, and I don't want to keep you busy all day. So I just want to thank you for participating in this live chat. And I want to thank all the audience for submitting questions and
awesome. Okay, maybe
behaving
I'll leave
very
you.
well.
I'll leave you with. I'll say goodbye to everybody, but I'll leave you with a little piano improvisation or something like
Sure,
that for everybody who's tuned in. So I'm going to
sure.
switch again to my other little setup. Should be over here, and we should all hear that on the microphone. Yes, confirm. You hear the audio.
Yes.
All right, good. Here we go. So I'll play a little bit, and then say goodbye to everybody. Okay.
Yep.
I'll just improvise something for everyone. Whatever comes into my head. Okay.
Yes.
There you go, my friends. I'll leave you with that little bit of an Octavarium vibe thrown in there for good measure, but mostly improvised for all of you nice people out there. Kim, thanks so much, man.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome that you're doing these, and I really appreciate it. We all
Yeah.
do in the Dream Theater world, and you're amazing. And on behalf of all the fans, thank you for doing this. It's always so smooth.
Thanks you.
I also want to thank Matt from Dream Theater Canada, who's behind the scenes and doing things, and Cosmin and Victoria and all the people that I'm forgetting, and Jake, who's part of our management team, who's been working with all of us helping to make these things happen. And yeah,
We'll keep doing this. I hope we'll have one soon with John Petrucci and Mike Mangini as well, and then hopefully we'll do a live one with all the members of the band at a later date. Hopefully,
awesome.
we
Well,
will
I
just have
will.
to schedule it. So that's always the hard thing, trying to get all
Yeah,
people to schedule. Great.
absolutely. I'll be sending them text messages like, guys, got to make this
Yes.
happen. Let's go.
So thanks, guys. I'll be ending the broadcast now.